Hi, everybody! Welcome to the first Dungeon Masters Guild Design Dash! I see everybody in the chit chat loading in, asking what this is all about. This is a brand new show. We're three Dungeon Masters Guild designers who are all down there, face off in the Dungeon Masters Guild arena. They are going to get a secret theme in a few minutes, and they're going to have 15 minutes to design whatever the heck they can. Maybe it's an encounter, maybe it's a sentence. We'll see. But first, let's go around and meet everybody. I'll start us off. My name is Lysa Penrose. I'm the community manager for Dungeon Masters Guild, and you might have noticed me around doing some other D&D things. But yeah, that's me. My co-host today is Matt over there. Matt, introduce yourself.
Hey everybody, I'm Matt McElroy. I'm the director of publishing for DM's Guild and Storytellers Vault and other drive-through related sites. I also work with Onyx Path Publishing on Pugmire and Scarbands and lots of other projects here and there. And this is going to be awesome.
Yeah, Matt's here to be the grumpy cat, and I'm the nice judge. All right, let's meet our wonderful contestants, brave enough not just to be contestants on Design Dash, but also guinea pigs on the first Design Dash. Jen, who are you?
Hi, my name is Jen Vaughn, and I will be the first sacrifice for Design Dash. You may have seen some of my titles in the DM's Guild, like The Experiments of Dr. Skulldile, or a sort of a paper smalls, which is a bunch of creating miniatures for your own table, in addition to doing art for Uncaged Anthology, Kat Kruger's stories, like Trouble at Tresendorn Manor, and Alex and I just had a new compendium come out through Canis Minor for Pugmire, called Morty Corgi's Scroll of Mysteries.
Oh my God, Morty Corgi! Oh, Matt came prepared with his Pugmire.
Oh, nice. Oh, and my pronouns are she/her.
Oh, thank you. So what is something that folks watching, without even knowing the theme, what is something you think they might be able to expect from you today in the arena?
Probably something that looks like a lot of bull honky, but that's actually hiding a lot of heart.
Some heart and soul.
Mm-hmm,
I like it. Our next contestant today is Alex Klippinger.
Hi, I'm Alex Klippinger. You may or may not recognize me from some titles on the Guild like Tome of the Pact, Fates of the Forgotten Realms, and a couple of adventures, just random stuff here and there. Kind of been doing a little bit of everything.
Yeah, you have a lot of different types of titles. So I'm curious, how would you describe your design style?
Usually if it's a solo project or even a collaborative project, there's an idea and it really just kind of grabs a hold of me. And it's just this kind of obsession. I really have to kind of see it through the end and explore it as best I can. So it could be an adventure. It could be a class thing. It's just kind of random.
Very cool. I want to kind of drives you in the moment. And last but not least is Oliver Clegg.
Hi, I'm Oliver. I published a lot of titles on the Guild as well, obviously. Published Ravenloft mostly, spooky things, horror things, twisted things. Most recently, Killer Kobolds from Outer Space, which is about as academic. I know it sounds complicated and deep, and in a way it emotionally is, but also it's about lizards who murder people with machines. So there's that. That's about as deep as it gets, honestly. And that's the level we're working with here. That's the level of emotional intelligence we're come to expect. So
I know we announced the show earlier this week, but we've been chatting about this for a while, and you've known this is coming. What hardcore design exercises and mental acrobatics have you done to prepare for the show?
I did a lot of panic drinking on the way here, so I think that really speaks to my education. And
on the way to your office chair?
For the last month, really, just solid. I've just been
just nonstop.
Practically a drip, which I did attach for this. I think for the viewers, in case there are any youngsters watching.
Good morning, everybody. All right, so I guess we should get this challenge started. As we were talking pre-show, doing some chit-chat, you guys inspired me to change what the theme I had planned to bring was. So the dash has already happened. And in case anyone did mind reading and figured out what the theme was ahead of time, It has now changed, keeping me on my toes as well. Let me maybe talk through for the audience how this is going to work. We're going to present a theme. Everyone's going to probably mute themselves so we don't hear their keyboards. And they're going to have 15 minutes to design while keeping an eye on the web video conference chat for when we call time. If they do not kind of confirm that they are out of their design doc after 15 minutes, I guess we'll just go into their document and just delete everything they wrote. Or we'll go in and we'll highlight it red to get their attention. Hannah says, what if we want to hear furious typing? You know what? This is the first episode. Let's see how it is without typing, and we'll workshop this. This is a chat. We're all working together. And then after those 15 minutes, during those 15 minutes, Matt and I will chat a little bit about Dungeon Masters Guild. We might peek into people's Word docs to see what they're working on, kind of what the process is, spy on them. And then afterwards, we'll go through the lineup, and everyone can share what their process was and what they designed. And we're gonna try to fit this into the time so Dragon Talk can start on time. And I think we're gonna get started. All right. So, Jen, Alex, Oliver, we are challenging you to design an encounter today. And the theme of this encounter is, wait a minute, that's not a rabbit. Your time begins now. All right, so it is 11:07. So I guess we will call time at, we're actually in Oliver's. I hadn't anticipated this. We're in Oliver's window right now. We see him deleting. Okay, all right, okay. We're gonna start off not spying on people. So we're gonna hide this window capture. So Matt,
Yeah.
I mean, I guess first of all, what for folks who are just tuning in who are like, well, what the heck is Design Dash? What's Dungeon Masters Guild? How would you describe Dungeon Masters Guild to someone totally new?
Dungeon Master Guild is this awesome program run by Drafts RPG and Wizards of the Coast that allows dungeon masters around the world and fans of D&D to publish their work, their supplements for Forgotten Realms or Ravenloft or even campaign neutral stuff, and share that with the community, maybe make a little money along the way, and stretch how you can play D&D in new ways. And it's basically a cool way of publishing your own D&D content and connecting with other gamers around the world.
Yeah. How does it differ from, say, so folks can also publish D&D 5e content on like Drive-Thru RPG or elsewhere. How does Dungeon Masters Guild differ from that?
So there's the license that Dungeon Master Guild has, and then there's the open game license, which a lot of other publishers like Onyx Path and Cobalt Press use to publish their own campaign worlds. That allows them to use the D&D engine, but create their own setting. DM's Guild allows fans to publish new content for worlds like Forgotten Realms and Ravenloft and Ravnica that are owned by Wizards, and they get to use a little bit more of the game system, and they basically connect on the official storefront for D&D. And so the two licenses are related, but they allow you to publish different ways. So it's really cool that multiple ways are available for people to publish.
Yeah, I'd say what's really cool about Dungeon Masters Guild versus other platforms or publishing houses is that it really is like you're a community creator. That's what our authors are called. And it really is a community. They connect on Facebook and Twitter and have created like the Creators Circle group where they really like work together, share their insights, find people to collaborate on projects. It's kind of amazing seeing people learn and grow from working with each other.
Absolutely. I love the fact that even with very little prompting from us, the community has reached out and mentored new authors and done big collaborative projects and little team-up projects, basically testing all the different ways they can publish.
So if someone wants to get started on Dungeon Masters Guild, do you have any like top tips for them, or what are resources we have where they can learn more?
The first one is read the FAQ.
Yeah, read the frequently asked questions. It might be the first and only one.
Yeah, it's the main one because you are actually making the FAQ way better than I did when I originally created it, and making constant improvements on it and responding to questions that people have. Next, I would say join the official discussion group on Facebook and follow us on Twitter, because we can recommend links to read, products to check out, places to connect with other fans. Yeah, basically find stuff that's similar to that you're interested in publishing. Check it out on the site, and then ask questions to the author.
Yeah, I think those are good tips. I just want to call out some stuff happening in chat right now. So someone's like, so this is the D&D version of Chopped. That was P. Cater. So yeah, basically, I think it also, that's a good idea. Like, so the theme was, wait, that's not a rabbit this time, but it would be fun to give them like 3 different elements that they have to include in the encounter or the subclass or whatever they're designing. Oh, wait, I see some Dungeon Masters Guild authors, like High Core Artificer. Thanks for joining us. Jack's Not Funny says, yeah, this is like Iron Chef. And
Yeah.
DC Lacer says, now I want Lysa to have a covered platter with a theme hidden underneath.
And the link to the FAQ is now in the chat, so people should check that out.
Thank you. Thank you for getting that in there. Let's see. Oh, we have a question. Okay. Well, I wonder if this is a question best served for like us or maybe the designers later. Well, I'll ask you anyway. You have a lot of design and RPG experience. I Am Ultra Supreme asks, any tips for writing non-linear adventures / notes? Where to house blocks of text, NPC stat blocks, hyperlinks?
Blocks of text is going to really depend on what you're doing with the different sections of your non-linear adventure, but I think most of the NPCs should go in the appendix, regardless of the size of your adventure. And then you can call out and hyperlink between them in PDFs. That's one of the great things about publishing PDF, is you can hyperlink everywhere. Basically, with all of your non-linear sections, I would call out different ways of connecting them in different orders. Like, this scene is really good with this one, this scene's really good with that one. But then just hyperlink and offer as many suggestions as you can.
Right. Awesome. Oh yeah, so TK has called out, if you do have questions for us, I hadn't even thought about that. So that's a great idea. Yeah, if you have questions, put question in all caps at the beginning, and that helps us see it. We see One Shot Onslaught is in the chat, and they are familiar with some of our competing authors' work. I've been using a lot of Oliver's work in my home Curse of Strahd campaign. Yeah, Oliver writes so much Ravenloft stuff. Let's see. Dread Pirate Halfling says, can the designers maybe increase their font size? I can read Jen's, but everyone else is just squiggles. Yeah, so Jen kept my size 18 zoomed in at 200% formatting. The rest are probably used to creating headers and stuff. So let me see. Maybe I can zoom in differently. I can't. 200 is the max. When we go through at the end, sorry. When we go through at the end, I'm going to make everyone cry by changing the font size.
I start real basic. I start real basic. I do have a question for chat, though. Which of these magical potions should I drink to help my writing?
Okay. Are we going for big blue or little? Is that orange or yellow or red?
It's orange, yeah.
Yeah. Blue or orange? Jack's Not Funny says, Jen auto wins for font size. Rage Cage is wowed that Jen is able to design while listening. Oh, okay. So far, I think it's tied. Orange, blue, a little bit of both. Orange is pulling ahead. Orange is health, says Shark Facer. I think orange is winning by like 2 or 3 votes. Drink both.
That would have been my vote too.
All right, just for Lysa and Matt.
Design Dash. I'm gonna turn that into a GIF later. We have a Misty in the chat. P. Cater says, we love Opal. Goodness. All right.
Yeah.
Let's see.
So
well,
get
yeah.
around a bit on you, and what's one of your favorite parts since you've started working on DM's Guild?
Oh my God, I'm being asked a question?
Yes.
Oh, no one ever asked me the questions. Goodness. I mean, I think I love all of the different communities that I help manage. But Dungeon Masters Guild feels different and kind of special, maybe because, I mean, for some people, some lucky people, this is a big part of their livelihood, designing a Dungeon Masters Guild. But it's folks who are like so passionate about D&D that they can't help but create for it. So like, honestly, the community itself and managing them is by far one of my favorite parts. It's really fun when we go to cons. We did like D&D Live recently, and Dungeon Masters Guild had a booth, and we had a lot of people who are authors coming over and just like really excited to meet us in person. That was just a blast.
Awesome.
I'm wondering, since folks can't fully read Alex and Oliver's designs, if we should spy on those and maybe like call out little bits. Are you able to bring those up so you can see those too, Matt?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I've got them all open.
All right, cool. Let's look at Alex's. First, I noticed it says, Lysa, no peeking.
Yeah,
so you are not the boss of me. Yeah, people in chat are like, no peeking, Lysa. It says that. And that's probably the only part chat's able to read at this particular time. So what is something that stands out to you already, Matt?
Oh, let's see. Diving in on the theme immediately right at the opening, I think is a strong move. Not wasting a lot of time on build up, getting right into the meat.
Yeah, I don't want to give too much away before Alex is able to share, but I will say that like you start noticing rabbits, and then every minute or so you start noticing additional rabbits, and that detail provokes this like really visceral, a little bit terrified response. Like there's a little bit of mystery there. I like that.
And the fact that there's just you don't know what's going on.
Yeah. So. Yeah. Let's hop over. I didn't mean that as a pun, but it is one. Let's hop over to Oliver's design. No, Jen. Let's see. So Oliver's got the theme written at the top. Wait, that's not a rabbit. Ooh, and it starts with a lot of like conflict. There's a disagreement in a marketplace.
That can be super fun, opening up a new encounter immediately with some action.
Yeah. Ooh. It's interesting too. So there's some action right away, and it starts with Lupinus, the were-wizard, who we find a little more detail about later. But I like that it's not just, it could be like any NPC, right? Like someone at a stall, but there's like details there, and those details make a difference, and they give a dungeon master something to work with.
Yeah, exactly. NPCs are a major part of my design. How can I mess with the PCs and set up expectations and then subvert them? I don't use a ton of published NPCs. I prefer making my own. So it'd be interesting to see how our designers tackle that.
Yeah, sorry, I'm distracted by chat because they're making me laugh. They're so funny. I am Ultra Supreme says, wait, that's not a rabbit means there shouldn't be rabbits. And then he like has like a clutching head emoji. Although Hannah, an editor, of course, so picks up on this detail, says there could be other rabbits besides the non-rabbit.
Yeah,
very true.
Be spending most of the adventure out which one is not a rabbit.
All right. It looks like we've got 2 minutes left. And those who are listening are feeling the ticking of that clock.
Yeah.
One shot onslaught says, unless they make the theme sentence longer. Wait, that's not a rabbit. Oh, I was wrong. Yes, it is. All right. With our minute and a half that we have left, what do you think you would do if you were designing an encounter based on wait, that's not a rabbit?
Oh, it would most likely include the undead in some way.
Oh.
Probably a feast. Probably something horrible would happen to NPCs that the characters care about, and then they have to deal with it.
Oh no. I'm already heartbroken. Although I would probably
That's the idea.
Yeah, just in my 1 minute of time to brainstorm something. Someone in chat said that they were like super impressed at how fast everyone is designing. And I gotta say, me too. Maybe next time it'll be 10 minutes. I feel like I would probably invest a lot in making like interactions with like this very cute rabbit creature, only to have it turn out to be something horrible.
That sounds awesome. I might have to use that in tonight's game.
Rage Cage says, I would just doodle some little bunny ears around the edges of the page.
Where jackalope. Yeah, that's a good one.
Oh no, TK. For me, it's not a rabbit. It's an oblex. No, thank you.
Yeah.
Too late. I was like an almirage.
It is 11:22. I'm gonna call time. All right, let's see. I think Jen and Alex were listening in this whole time, unsure about Oliver and whether he has us muted or he can hear us. So I'm gonna go into his design and delete all of it. I didn't delete everything. In fact, I'm really nervous and I'm going to unclick before I accidentally do.
Yeah, please don't do that. It's depressing, actually. I might cry.
Did you two get to adding like treasure and stuff at the end, or?
No, I didn't want to get that far.
Okay, so it's like, yeah.
I hear Lysa say 10 minutes. No.
Yeah, no, when I heard you two were doing headers, I was like, oh, I'm sorry, we're trying to make this a legible adventure.
Yeah, so I guess before we jump into talking about designs, I'd love, especially because this is the first episode, just to hear from y'all, like, what was it like just designing for 15 minutes?
Not unlike designing normally.
Oh, okay.
But, if there are any editors listening, it does definitely take longer, much longer.
Madness.
What about you, Oliver, Alex?
I usually I do more kind of bullet point notes, or like kind of just throw out little one sentence, maybe a couple word ideas. I just sort of expand out between the lines on each of those. So doing it in a 15-minute, especially with a random theme, 15-minute time frame, everybody's watching. It was different. It was definitely a different experience.
What about you, Oliver?
No, this kind of mainly is kind of where I end up most of the time. I'm like, oh no, a project's been done and I have 5 minutes. How many pages is it? And then I just vomit that out and here we are.
Guys, don't give away all our designer secrets.
I would say there's only like a scene or two that I want to build to. So it's sort of like, what are the options of making certain scenes available to the adventuring party, depending obviously on what they choose to do. But given this, it was just it's a rabbit shoot. So yeah.
Hey.
All right. So let's go through Jen's design, and I guess I'll scroll through it slowly, or kind of go through it with us and let us know where your head was at, what your ideas are, and just talk us through it. Present to us this meal you have prepared.
All right. So for the inaugural Design Dash, I present. Oh wait, it's the same title. That's not a rabbit. Okay. It starts out with a little flavor text by Alexa Narbles, the daughter of your most recent quest giver. And she says, "What happened to my Floof the four-footed rabbit?"
So all right, so we'll start off with minus 1 point. No, just kidding.
Wait, I'm sorry. Was there did you guys come up with a rubric at all for this?
No, but I wonder if we should. That would be really fun, and just like arbitrarily put in numbers. And because everybody wins, so it's like whose line is it anyway? The points don't matter.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
But continue with this Jen's writing buffet, as chat has dubbed it.
So the background: your adventuring party recently killed the rabbit of a noble client. Whoopsie daisy. So now you are all at Little Scamper's shop of rompers and stompers, looking for a new replacement rabbit, else you be run out of water deep. So Little Scampers, as an NPC, is a retired goblin soldier who loves his rabbits and trains them? Question mark, question mark. So if, you know, I was kind of thinking like, who would be like a fun sort of character to own a shop full of small rabbits and only rabbits. So, you know, no kink shaming, obviously, never.
I like that it not only that it's a goblin, which makes it cute, but also a goblin soldier.
Yeah, I feel like, you know, they've been in it. They know, they understand like what it's like, and they also like, you know, clean area. You know, you got to constantly clean your bunk. So
yeah.
But I will say, or no, I'll get to that later. Sorry. So the players can roll, you know, because if they've been to other pet shops, they might be like, is this legit? Is this like a rabbit farm? So the DC 12 perception check, they can tell that Scampers is legit and that this rabbit shop is well loved. There's a little side note on how to play Scampers, because I like to include vocal instructions for people as well, maybe habits, like if they repeat themselves. So I say you to play Scampers, you use a British accent akin to Oliver Clegg's voice.
Wow.
And you can, you know, go to the internet to find that sort of thing as well. Or maybe I'll include a hot link when I put this on the DM's Guild. And you often speak about a maimed fox that keeps haunting the shop and his rabbits as well. So the shop itself, Little Scamper's shop of rompers and stompers, it doesn't have the typical cages or pens, but it's a circle of chairs and a small raised stage. So, and on that stage, there's a balance beam made of like weathered helmthorn and some small oblong boards with like 4 wheels attached to them. And then everyone's like skateboards, you know, at the table. So I don't know about you all, but yeah, it's, you know, it's always fun to put in like new things, but describe them like in like 20 words. And everyone's like, we get it. So after charging you 2 silver pieces a seat, the adventuring party may then sit and the lights dim as Scamper's show starts. There are 6 rabbits that take the stage and perform. Whoops, obviously an editor would come in and fix my poor typing. All these rabbits, Scamper will say, are adoptable. So it's not a regular, you know, rabbit shop. It's a performance. Like they probably got like a little clicker of some kind. Sorry, I don't want to go too much off what I wrote, but you know, there's tricks to be had. This would be up to the what we like to say when we don't do the work, the DM's discretion to describe. So these rabbits are doing cute things on the balance board and the skateboards, and then the last rabbit is in all white with silver blue eyes. It takes the stage, but in time to the music, it does nothing other than its skin starts to roil and pulse. And with a keening noise, the rabbit's head shoots off and lands in the lap of one of the adventurers' lap. It is no rabbit, but a gibbering mouther.
Gasp!
In rabbit's skin.
What a twist!
Yes, roll initiative and all that. So there were only 5 rabbits left, and they are the focus of this gibbering mouther's rage. So the adventuring party needs to save at least 1 rabbit in order to fulfill this, but they could also save Scampers and like the other NPCs and receive extra treasure because I do believe, you know, mercy is always like should be rewarded, and as well as saving people. And that is the end of what I will be calling Little Scamper's Shop of Rompers and Stompers plus horrors. And I was pretty much nervous the whole time because I was like, you know, I like put down gibbering mouther near the beginning just so I knew that I was going to work towards that. Mm-hmm. And then basically just made everyone sit. So it's like, yeah, I don't know if there would actually be a fun adventure. Maybe depending on some extra NPCs. Sorry, am I doing the right thing by like saying what I would have added?
Yeah. I love that insight.
Yeah. I was going to ask if that's part of your normal process, like when you put monsters or NPCs at the beginning to sort of form your thought process. Is that how you normally build this type of thing?
There's usually, like a story structure. So it's like, what's the big mystery? But then like anytime you add an NPC, it's like they have something that they're keeping hidden. And so you can kind of find that as you work along the story. So like I have one where it's like the crummy teen is actually dealing drugs in the town using like the spider population, or someone's actually a spy. So in this case, like Scampers could have been like working with some sort of magic, or like was looking into doing some like bigger pets and then accidentally ordered the wrong thing. So it's just like, he's a busy rabbit owner. So I would definitely, I'd play more with maybe some of the NPCs in the audience too, especially like having an annoying one that the group gets to make a moral choice if they save. So always fun to test them that way.
Yeah.
So.
They like that you sort of like start with where you want the encounter to end and kind of then went back to the beginning and you knew where you were working toward. I will say I like encounters where there might be a combat, but there's like another goal that you have to accomplish during the combat. I think that makes things interesting and also allows for people to make like different choices during combat versus their usual, like, I hit it with this, or I use this spell.
Yeah. Definitely. Like maybe they end up like training the gibbering mouther, and then that's like the showstopper, and it's like, you gotta buy these rabbits now, or like, so yeah. Who knows what Scampers could do? I definitely would have probably had a couple of different endings that were possible. I don't even think I really ended it. I was just like, this is what you need to do. So, but thank you for listening, and thank you for letting me know.
I probably should have started this so that we would have gotten questions loaded in by now. But if anyone has questions for Jen about her design and her process, put them in the chat with question in all caps at the beginning. That will help. In the meantime, I will say that people are really excited about the gibbering mouther. LYKU Khalil says, if Scampers dies, you don't need to pay the silver for the surviving rabbits.
Yes.
But then you have to take home all the rabbits / the shop becomes yours, and then the shop is haunted. So it's like, I've got like an easy train for like 3 more.
So I like this shop even better now that it's haunted.
Yeah.
Scampers is going to be a real mean ghost though, or specter or something,
Yeah. Oh yeah, someone like ghost rabbits. This is adorable. Let's see. Train gibbering mouther, put bunny ears on it, give it to Noble's daughter.
Oh, that would have been, that's a great, like, do you think, in chat or the group, do you think that should be like, you get the most treasure if you're able to pull that off? Like, got this mound of flesh with like a bunch of mouths and needle teeth, and like, you're like, it's a rabbit.
That's like some 3.5 level, nat 20 persuasion roll equals mind control stuff, but here for it.
All right. Yeah, Dread Pirate Halfling adds, this is a whole campaign I would play. So yeah, chat is loving the that's not a rabbit quest to replace Floof, the 4-footed rabbit. So I guess if you have questions for Jen, put question and then make it like clear it's for Jen, like question for Jen at the top, and we can go back. But in the meantime, I'd like to move along to our next contestant, Alex Klippinger, peeking now aloud. Adjusted font sizes, I think. Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
All right, Alex, tell us what you've cooked up for us today.
Well, man, this was a bamboozle. You did not. You threw me for a loop on that on the rabbit theme. So I decided to make this.
You're to blame for that, though.
Yeah, we were talking about rabbits before we went live.
So I decided to go with kind of more of a drop-in encounter that you can kind of put into any kind of traveling scenario. The setup is really just you're traveling outside of town or city, kind of anywhere in the forest or fields. And a very mundane thing happens. The party notices a rabbit. And hang on. If you tell the party that they see a rabbit, they're probably going to try to stab it. Just letting everyone know. But they notice a rabbit that's simply standing stock still. It's just completely immobile, watching them, which is kind of weird. It's a little weird. As they continue traveling, or as they go on, they start noticing more and more of these rabbits. And they're in front of them, and they're behind them, and they're beside them, and they're all just standing there menacingly. And of course, if you present characters with a very mundane creature and you keep making them notice it, they're eventually going to interact with it.
Yeah.
So once somebody investigates it or I said physically interacts with, we all know they're going to try to shoot it or something. Come on. We all play D&D here. Come on. You'll notice that it's an illusion, and that will trigger the encounter. A crazed gnome druid runs out of the forest and instigates this rabbit horde attack as all of the previously immobile rabbit illusions begin charging the group. And I started in on this sort of mechanical thing where X number of these quote unquote rabbits will charge each round on initiative count 20 or initiative count 10, and it reaches its space, it explodes. And I really wanted to get into more detail of what that looks like. Didn't get a chance to. But basically, it's this deck save against force damage. All these hundreds of tiny bunny illusions running in and just bursting apart in this pockmark explosion, this minefield of rabbits. I swear I was just sitting there for like a full minute, just going, "What the hell am I going to write about this?" So unfortunately, what I did not get a chance to do was break people's hearts by describing exactly the little shrieking noise they make when they explode. I did not get a chance to do a better description of the gnome druid, who I would have liked to have gotten a little more description of. I didn't get a chance to write all of the one-liners that the gnome druid would have. Like,
ooh, yes.
hop to it. If you've got buns. That's all I got right now. So, yeah, no, I just decided to make it kind of like this straightforward, this sort of traveling encounter that this weird oddball mystery that could get dropped into just about anywhere.
Yeah. So when you were sitting there thinking about what you were going to do with rabbits, did you start with this idea of just like, I want a million exploding rabbits, or did it kind of start with the like, people are going to see these creepy rabbits one by one? What was your process?
It started with honestly, like I was making this up line by line. It started with a rabbit following the party, and this idea of like every time they look back or look around, it's always like half concealed behind something watching them, and then I decided, well, how about I just have more of them? And like, there's this constantly growing number until finally they're kind of forced to, somebody will be like, okay, somebody at the table will slam their character sheet down and go, what are you doing? What is this? Just like this really simple but effective setup where when you mention things to players, they even if it's a mundane thing, if you bother to mention it, they will interact with it.
Yeah, I almost feel like just that first rabbit, like as soon as you mention it, they're gonna be suspicious of it. Oh my goodness. Let's see. I want to call out a few things happening in chat. Some DC listener that says this sounds like The Birds, but with rabbits. A lot of people reacted to your saying they would kill the rabbit by saying, my table would adopt it. And SideQuest RPG says, half my table would want to kill it, half my table would want to adopt it. Cue 45 minutes of debate.
Yeah, my group would be discussing rabbit recipes.
Oh no! TK says, all I could think of was 30 rabbits and a Mimikyu Pokemon. Good. So, kind of making it up as you go along, is that what your process normally is, or is that kind of what for this Design Dash situation?
That's what it ended up being for this. Normally, when I get a project idea that I'm doing, I'll get like a core concept, and I'll just get a bunch of solid ideas that will kind of stick. They might not be in sequential order, but like they'll all be part of the overall the overall end result. And it's more about kind of sometimes it's filling in the gaps between like those really key visual scenes or, key NPCs, things like that. You come up with them, you kind of put them generally in the sort of adventure timeline where you think they're going to fit. And then it's really just kind of fleshing out the details around them. And this was way more it was extemporaneous. It was just kind of flying by the seat of your pants and kind of seeing where the idea takes you as you're writing it.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like it can be sort of dropped into anything. Like, how many times are you in like sort of wilderness where there could be rabbits, like between every quest? And I feel like wanting to know what this druid is all about and why he's attacking you with illusory rabbits could be some sort of potential hook to the next quest.
Oh man, I just thought of the term Thunderdark.
Thunderdark.
Disqualified.
That's my design process. That is right there. That's it. That's the process.
Oh my goodness, Matt. Any other questions for Alex?
It seems like you focused in on the rabbit part of the challenge first, and then added the not a part after it. Is that true, or am I just reading that wrong?
Yeah, well, like I said, it was just starting off with. So they have to interact with a rabbit. There has to be some sort of what's ostensibly going to be a rabbit, and then I kind of decided as I was in the middle of the process, like, where am I going with this? Okay. I like the setup we're working with, but then like where am I going with it? And I kind of decided on, well, they're illusory, but that's no fun. It has to be something more than that. How am I going to layer on top of that?
Yeah, I love how visual just the idea of all of these like rabbits shrieking and exploding into force sparkles, just like little rabbit fireworks. It sounds magical. I mean, awful, really bad, but great at the same time, which I think is some of the best D&D. All right, we are going to move along to our third contestant, Oliver, who's still in the red. Let's do that. I'm sorry, but I'm gonna change your font size to 18 so people can read it. That. And then, okay. Oliver, what do you have for us to enjoy today?
Right. Well, when I heard you say that's not a rabbit, the first thing that really came to mind was, when you're in the shop and you're behind a massive queue, and somewhere at the front, there's someone who has decided that what they have purchased is not right. So they've accosted the clerk about this. Now, this is not a rabbit. And the clerk is like, madam, it's furry and has ears. It clearly is. They're like, no, because I know rabbits. I've been buying rabbits since I was 13. Nice coupon says 2 rabbits. And he's like, no, but there's a queue, madam. That scenario. Yeah, that's what came to mind. So what I went with in the end, and this is going somewhere, a disagreement has brought the marketplace to a halt. Lupinus, the were-wizard, being a werewolf and a wizard, as one gets old enough. Or
just a wizard just during the full moon?
Yeah, or where is he? Where is the wizard? Any of these things are true. And he has brought the entire sort of marketplace to a standstill because he believes he's made a fraudulent purchase, effectively. And the adventurers arrive to see him dangling this poor merchant over a pit full of spikes and crocodiles. The wizard is using magic because he didn't go to magic school for 50 years to dangle people by his hands like some commoner. So the wizard is obviously advanced in age and obviously insane because everyone knows once you get past like 70 as a wizard, you just snap. And you just go completely insane. All that learning, all that book learning just goes for naught, and you start hanging people over pits full of magic and crocodiles. So he's accosted this merchant with this rabbit. Because he's a werewolf and a wizard, he wanted a rabbit for his dinner, classically. So he ordered it in advance, as all old people do. He sent his coupons in. And he gets down there, and the merchant hands his rabbit to him. And the wizard has decided, because it's a Tuesday, he got out of bed on the wrong side, and Mercury's in retrograde, that it's not a rabbit, and it's actually a demon. And the merchant, poor merchant, is being dangled for his life over this pit as a wizard, accuses him of peddling in demons. The rabbit, of course, is just sat there looking nonplussed. But it was expecting to be eaten, and now it's given a reprieve. And honestly, the vistas of experience are open for this rabbit now that weren't before. So really, the rabbit's winning here. So the werewolf is hungry. Unfortunately, in conjuring the crocodiles, some of them have become impaled on the spikes. Lupins would call this the cost of art. You can't have everything. You can't have a crocodile pit without, some of them getting impaled. But you can't have the spikes without the crocodile, because what are you, some kind of charlatan? So there we are. And unfortunately, that's triggering the werewolf's blood frenzy, so he's not thinking straight. So he's also now a blood-frenzied mad wizard who's dangling the merchant over the pit of spikes and crocodiles. With me so far? Everyone, keeping along.
Windy path you're taking us on, Oliver.
A windy path, indeed. Now, this is unfortunate because the rabbit may or may not be a demon, but it's fairly irrelevant to the poor life of the poor merchant who's once again being dangled over a pit of crocodiles. And there are several problems here that it may solve. Not only do they have to save the merchant, presuming they're of that inclination, from the pit full of spikes and crocodiles, they have to make sure the crocodiles don't escape into the local ecosystem, because that could be dangerous for plumbing and infrastructure, and generally a local nuisance, really, if you think about it. They get in toilets and things and start, eating people. I've heard from behind. I don't live in Australia, but I hear things. They have to stop the wizard from eating everyone, honestly, because at this point, the rabbit's fairly mood. He could eat the merchants, the adventurers, the wizards. He's just hungry, so you need to feed him. You need to get rid of the pit full of spikes, because it's a marketplace. You can't have that kind of hazard around, and honestly, public funding these days will not fix it. There is no funding for that kind of thing, so the adventurers really have to take that one on. Hope someone is a mason. And get rid of defuse that entire situation, really, in a very short space of time. Because, of course, if the wizard is distracted by, say, a bard with minor illusion, who will not stop using it, no matter how many times you ask them, he might drop the merchant. That's the end of that. And then you just have crocodiles everywhere, and the wizard's cross because he lost his dinner to the crocodiles, which he did not think through in conceptualizing his punishment. Yeah, that's it. I'm done now.
Ha.
You're welcome.
Okay. I need to figure out where to begin with questions.
I withdraw from the running. Just take it.
I do appreciate the nods to urban planning, and I know how important that is at most D&D tables. It's like, but what about the plumbing?
People forget, because and magic's all very well and good, but you're going to move Earth so many times before really you just what you really need is sort of infrastructure to get that waste out of the city, and not infestable crocodiles. Let me admit, and difference in alligators is obviously very pertinent, but neither in plumbing at the end of the day.
So, how would you say the process of writing this 15-minute design dash compares to your usual process? I was going to say normal, but I'm going to say
brand,
usual.
Yeah. This is how it works. It's gonna be
yeah, I like that you started being inspired by like this very mundane situation that's something a lot of people can relate to, and then just like that happened.
Yeah, that's pretty much where it is. I find a hook, and I find something about it that bothers me, or that I can relate to, or that I think is, something that exists in everyday life, so that people can, understand some subconscious level, and then you just fill it with mad things.
Yeah.
And then it becomes completely unrelatable, and then that whole point was wasted.
Where would you say you draw inspiration for your ideas from?
Well, Dr. Dolittle has the atlas where he throws a pin at the book and it's open.
Yeah.
Yeah, imagine that with a lot of books and a lot of pins, and I lose track of which pins are where. Sort of where it is, and then maybe blend it or something.
So when you got the challenge, was making the rabbit real or not early in your design process, or did you just be like, I need to move this to the side so I can get to the rest of the...
Well, once I got into the crocodile thing, I was really taken by that. The rabbit seemed kind of a non-entity. But I'll admit, I think it's important that the DM has some ability to... I think that's the kind of important decision that should be left to the Dungeon Master. Like, is the rabbit a demon or not? That's the kind of fun thing they can work up by themselves, because abilities like... the wizard doesn't have the ability to sense whether it's demon or not. So if they have cleric and a paladin, it becomes important because they can tell. And if they don't have one, well, that's a mystery. Is the rabbit a demon? Do we pick it up and save it? Do we not? Because it could eat us. As like everything's eating everything else at this point, isn't it? But I think that's the kind of thing that's fun to leave to the DM, particularly if it's something that relies on a particular class being able to solve. We don't want to make it mandatory.
So chat is debating a few things. First, Dread Pirate Halfling says, this is the most on-brand pitch I could have dreamed of. But they're also debating, I think, what should be on the rubric. Someone has put forth that the arbitrary winner should be decided by number of adoptables.
I like this with Faradon.
Ban the algorithm.
Angry Nerd Girl says, after working over a decade in customer service, I want to adopt the merchant.
That's fair.
Klaus?
I kind of wanted to know if the wizard asked for the manager first.
Oh, absolutely. At the haircut as well. It's awesome.
I wonder if the wizard will leave a Yelp review. Maybe he already has.
Bad service. Crocodiles died in the process. 1 star.
Would impale again. Would not impale again.
That.
Curious for those of you, so you've like put these ideas down. What would normally your next step be? Do you guys do like a lot of revisions? Do you always work with a different editor? Jen, wondering for you. I guess we'll go through everyone.
Well, I definitely add more to it. I'm not gonna lie. As mentioned, a little bit of work for the NPCs and stuff. So what I might do is send it over to one of my, an editor friend to look it over after I've added some to it, and then run it through a playtest of my own, see how I like it, then make some changes, and then send it to someone else that hasn't seen it at all and have them playtest it with the group, because I think that's probably one of the biggest challenges is like when you're running a game you've written, you know the different threads you could have gone down and the different roads and travel, you can travel, but letting someone else DM and just being like, oh, there's not a good reason to do this, or how do I get their attention over here? I mean, obviously, if Dungeons Masters will be able to pick up on that and fill in the loose bits themselves. But if there's something integral that's missing, having them be able to let you know is super helpful.
Yeah.
So and then like drawing the cover and doing the cool layout.
Yeah, I liked all the art and stuff that you do for your adventures.
Thank you.
I didn't miss the question that came up in chat for you, which is, what are possible names for the rabbits?
Okay, so I wrote them down. And the first 5 are, it's the first 5, and then the last one's the gibbering mouther: Gremblob, Shelby, Glashon, Gromblin, Skrillnar, and Ted. The gibbering mouther.
I love them all and want to adopt them all. All right. So Alex, what would you say your next steps would be for the process?
I work with maybe a couple different editors, and that's more on the proofreading side. When I talk about doing like the little like short notes or bullet points, usually there's not a long process between making those bullet points and writing what's more or less the final wording. But it is important to go back through for the sake of proofreading. And on something short like this, it's really easy to make an encounter that flows or that makes sense. But then longer projects, you always want to go back and make sure that you're being consistent with characters, being consistent with your plot threads and your expectations and stuff like that. And I don't do my own art, but being able to either look for art online that I can use, or sometimes even taking the time to like make the cover. If I found like cover art that I really like, that I want to use for the project, making that cover art, putting the title on there, it can be exciting, like, okay, yeah, no, this is real. I'm really making a thing, I'm actually making a project happen. It can be a good way to kind of amp yourself up and to help you visualize, what you're doing.
Nice. What about you, Oliver? Where would you take this insanity next?
Well, I don't really like to read over what I've done once I've read it, because it means I have to come to terms with what I've done. I don't believe in consequences, so mostly I just publish and be damned. Lately, I've discovered that it's a really good idea to hire an editor, because they'll go, Oliver, your book has no cover, or Oliver, you have no title, or where are the words, Oliver? So that's handy. But in general, just gay panic, shove a cover on it, and we're good.
All right. Cool. All right, so we are 5 minutes out, so I guess we ought to do some outros. And I guess we'll go backwards this time. So let us know who you've been, where people can find you. If you have anything coming up soon you want to shout out and plug, do the thing. So Oliver, long time no see. Who are you?
Me again. The public love me. So I'm Oliver Clegg. You can find me on Twitter at Death by Badger. I publish a lot of Ravenloft or horror stuff on the Guild. The next thing I have coming up, though, is something completely different. Just waiting on physical proofs for Balthazar's House of Familiars, which is basically a book of tiny little critters and creatures that you can take with you on your journey, and they're fluffy and in teacups, and some of them are poisonous, so do read the labels. But watch for that. That's coming to DM's Guild soon. Print a PDF and so on. I'm very excited. It's so pretty.
Yeah, I like that we're trying print on demand as like a half-size book because it's familiars.
It's a bitty book. It's so pretty.
It's gonna be really cute. I'm very excited. Alex.
You can find me obviously on the DM's Guild, and you can find me on Twitter at @aclippinger. Projects I've got coming up, I guess the major one is Skullport Dragon Swindle, which is a project I'm trying really hard to finish up. It's a remix, basically like a remix/rewrite of Waterdeep Dragon Heist that changes the whole, it keeps the structure and changes it all to Skullport, and it's all new factions and
Very cool.
It's kind of evil and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, extra nefarious. All right, Jen, what about you?
Yeah, by day, I'm a narrative designer for a video game company, Very, Very Spaceship. But I have a couple adventures out on the DM's Guild, like I mentioned. Next coming up is a subclass I played on Twitch called Entomancer. It's a druid subclass that's very buggy. I'm just finishing art and getting some playtest notes from that. And tonight, I will be on Tales from the Mist as Opal Fan and one of the guests. And tomorrow, if you're in the Seattle, Tacoma area, I will be with my all-women, family-friendly podcast, D20 Dames, and we're doing a live show at the Renton History Museum as part of their D&D exhibit that's around.
Yeah, that's so cool. The D20 Dames are in the exhibit.
Yes, we're like physically and just pictures of us, and then hopefully at the end of the show we're not like chained to it and turned to stone like the end of like a.
Jen is streaming from the Renton History Museum right now.
Oh. That would be good. Oh, and you can find me online at the Jenya, TheJenya.
Yeah. All right, Matt. Thank you for helping to co-host this month. Tell us a little more about where folks can find you and what sort of D&D stuff you're up to.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at MMM666. D&D related stuff I'm working on is some more Scarred Lands and Pugmire, and Onyx Path has the Legend Lore RPG coming out in the future, but I'm also working on some Ravenloft stuff in my infinite amount of free time. A campaign of mine wrapped up recently, and I'm actually going to put it out for people to buy on DM's Guild.
Oh, awesome. Oh, that's so exciting. Make sure you have the logo on your cover or you'll hear from me. I have been Lysa Penrose. I'm the community manager of Dungeon Masters Guild, the Adventurers League, and the social media manager for D&D. I'm also in the cast of Tales from the Mist, which airs tonight on this channel at 6 o'clock, playing Mercy, quickly falling in love with Jen's character, Opal. She gave me candy. Let's see. Look out for a poll on Twitter at DMS_guild. We're going to do a poll so you can vote for Jen, Alex, or Oliver to come back next month and face off against 2 more challengers in the Dungeon Masters Guild Design Dash Arena. Until then, I guess stick around. In a minute, Dragon Talk starts. Greg Tito is going to be joined by Adam Lee, and they're going to be talking all about Baldur's Gate Descent into Avernus. Maybe spoilers, maybe some cool stuff. I literally have no idea. I'm just talking. But thanks everyone for joining us for our premiere episode. Jen, Alex, Oliver, Matt, and also everyone in chat. This has been super fun. We will see you next time. Bye, guys.